Hey, what's up and hello. This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. So, unfortunately, we found out some devastating news, at least devastating news on my part, because I definitely respected this woman. Angie Stone, I'm sorry, you guys. Angie Stone passed. We found out that she passed this morning in Mobile, Alabama, if I'm not mistaken, or Montgomery, Alabama. I can't even remember right now. I can barely think. I rushed home because at first I said, I'm not going to go live today. I'm going to just get my thoughts together. But when things like this bother me, I just say, you know what? Why the hell not? We're going to talk about it. Hey, you guys, make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. Hey, Danielle, Adrian, Leo, Trina, what's up? What's up? Um, One, Angie Stone, she was unapologetically black, fat, nappy, everything that you could possibly imagine that they would use as a negative. Angie embraced it. She owned it. She never compromised herself. She never sold her soul. She was who she was without a doubt. Um, and I can do nothing but respect people like that, especially in an industry that is very harsh and will always tell you you're not good enough, and not because of your talent, but just simply because of sometimes your looks. Um, and just so many other things that are just stupid when it comes to just this world in general and the industry in general. So she passed an actual truck, like I think it was like an 18-wheeler truck, ended up hitting them. Now, what's interesting is that um and I adored this woman, like, especially when I know she's gotten smaller now as time goes on, but when she was in her prime, like, just like the hair and everything, baby, she owned it. She owned it. And I love this. Like, she never wanted to compromise herself. And I absolutely loved it. But they're saying that she was declared unalive literally at the scene. However, there were 8 other passengers in the van who were injured and transported to hospital for treatment. I don't think anyone else passed but Angie. Okay. But her. And immediately when I read that, I instantly thought of this situation, because it was the exact same situation in a sense of there was a crash, an accident, and everybody else was fine except for Lisa. And for whatever reason, this is the same thing that has happened to Angie. And so, what do we know? What we do know is, and what everyone is talking about right now, is that literally 9 weeks ago, Angie did a long live on Instagram about the shadiness of the music business and the industry. And she talked about a lot of things. She talked about the struggles of a lot of stuff that she had going on, even the struggles of being a single mom, and how her baby daddies were not there to pretty much pick up the pieces or help her into raising those kids and financially giving towards those kids. Which interesting enough, if you guys don't know, which I'm sure you probably do, one of her baby fathers is D'Angelo. Brown Sugar D'Angelo, for those who don't know. How does it feel, D'Angelo? So interesting enough that she said that, because again, even with him in his prime, it's really making me wonder, are you saying that he still wasn't taking care of his kid and everything fell on you? But with that being said, she talked about the shadiness of the industry, and she talked about how she was always wondering why she did not have her money, or it was always a struggle when it came to her money. Now, mind you, Angie Stone has also written for other artists, if I'm not mistaken. She's a writer. She, is definitely a writer, a singer, a producer. She does it all. She has had plenty of people who have actually sampled her work as well. And yet she was not sometimes getting by. And she talks about in that live how she could have retired years ago had it been for the actual fairness of her royalties and her getting her money. So all in all, she was suing Universal Music Group, probably amongst some other people too, but the main one was Universal, that she was suing Universal, and she was going to get her money. And 9 weeks later, she's gone. And if I must say, you guys, that bothers the F out of me. It really bothers me because all the people, of course, naturally right now are, their antennas are going up as far as the conspiracy of it all. And I get it. I totally get it. And I definitely can understand why people feel that way. I can understand why people feel that way because what are the odds? What are the odds that 9 weeks ago she talked about this and then now she's gone and she's the only one gone? What are the odds? Not to mention, Angie did have other health conditions. I remember Angie on that fitness boot camp show on VH1. And for those who actually remember that show, please put a 1 in the chat. I remember her on that, and they were talking about her congestive heart failure. So she had some health issues going on for years, but none of that took her out. None of that took her out. But this did. Now, on a spiritual level, one can say, look, when God says it's your time, God says it's your time, because we're not going to pretend like there have been people who have gotten into severe accidents like this. And while they either, they had to struggle, go through rehab or whatever the case may be, or maybe by a miracle, they didn't really get touched at all, they were able to survive it. Tracy Morgan is one of those people. If I'm not mistaken, he got into an accident on the highway with like a big rig or something like that. Same situation. Yes, he struggled. He definitely struggled. He had to go through rehab, but at the same time, he still made it out alive. You know what I mean? He still made it out alive. So do you believe in premature death? She said she couldn't breathe on her video. I mean, the crash could have, because of her conditions, maybe that's why she possibly didn't survive, because of the other health things that she had going on, and that's why she didn't. We don't really know. But again, like I said, I do totally understand why people are saying something ain't right, it don't feel right. I get it. And what really bothers me and what doesn't feel right is this woman should have not left this earth broke. Now, I know you guys are going to say, Chris, how do you know she was broke? The way she was talking on that live, and you guys check out that live, the way that she was talking on that live, the fact that she said she could have retired years ago, I think she even said 20 years ago, this woman worked because she had to work. She had to work. Because the fact that she said she could have retired 20 years ago if she would have gotten her royalties, if she would have gotten her just due, tells me she had no choice but to work to continue to survive. Now that for me, excuse my French, if you got kids, close their ears really quick, it's fucked up. This woman spent 30 plus years in the industry. 30 plus years. Even though the baby daddies didn't sit up there and do what they were supposed to do, she still didn't degrade black men. She had a song, Black Brother, I Love You. So she didn't, to me, come across bitter in this industry. I'm sure there have been plenty of times in life that she could have been bitter in her personal life as well as her professional life. She definitely has some health issues. I think she talked about a staph infection. You know what I'm saying? So she literally had health issues, but yet she still had to be on the road working. And it just does not make sense to me. It's not fair. It really isn't fair. And what bothers me even more now is, um, where's this lawsuit? Where's this lawsuit going to end? How is this lawsuit? What is going to happen with this lawsuit? And I'm being very honest about that. Like, what is about to happen with this lawsuit? Because these lawsuits, especially when you're going against mega corporations, they cost money, a whole lot of money. A lot of these lawyers are not going to take on these big corporations pro bono. They're just not. I wouldn't even put it past it that Angie made sure she constantly worked so she could put money into this case because it was going to cost her money. So I would not be shocked if she was also out on the road, because it seemed like she lived a very humble life. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look like, just based off of the background that, Instagram had, it looks like, she lived in your, average house. She lived in your average house. And maybe that house was paid off, but at the same time, she still has to, I mean, inflation hits everyone, but then at the same time, it's really making me wonder if her actually being on the road like this was to make enough money to put into this lawsuit. So now where does this lawsuit go? Where does it go? Because my gut is telling me it's probably over at this point. And I hope it's not. But it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate that this has happened. And see, this is when I say that if the Black artists and the Black people who actually are making the money and are, doing amazing things and claim to have millions on top of millions of dollars, which again, we don't know their bank accounts either. But this would be the time that they should rally together to try to support this type of situation. But they won't, because a lot of them are me fi me. Hell, don't be shocked that people who look like her screwed her over too. There's no reason why Angie Stone should have left this earth the way that she did, of course, because of the crash, but the way that she did in a sense of she doesn't have any generational wealth probably to give to her children. I think every parent wants to leave this earth with giving their kids something to be able to continue and to thrive. And especially when you're an artist and you make money off of your art, you want it to be able to carry down and create some type of wealth for your kids. And we've heard this too many times, especially with our Black artists, how they've gotten screwed over so many times. So many times. And Angie, gosh, I cannot believe that here we are talking about her passing 9 weeks after she said, baby, we going to court. I'm sure her kids aren't even thinking about this right now. And God bless her children, her family. This has to be absolutely devastating. But once they are able to pick up their hearts and pick up the pieces, it really makes me wonder how far this is going to go. I am praying that they're able to fight this, because it is so sad that, especially as Black people, especially as Black women, we are taught that in our pain or in people allegedly ripping us off, that or people disrespecting us, we're just supposed to remain silent. And we're not supposed to say anything, and we're not supposed to fight for our rights. And you should just leave it alone. You're not prepared for this business. If people steal from you, just, take it on the chin and just create more stuff and you'll be okay. F that. F it. You should fight for everything that you created, everything that you've earned, everything that you deserve. And it's so sad that even in our own community, a lot of times we don't have the support. For example, take Nikki Gilbert. I told you guys about Nikki Gilbert. She has been alleging for a very long time that P Valley was stolen from her. Now, for those who may not like Nikki Gilbert on a personal level or on a level of how they saw her on a reality show, which, interesting enough, Nikki Gilbert and Angie Stone, remember Nikki Gilbert created R&B Divas. Angie Stone was on R&B Divas with Nikki. I'm curious to see if Nikki's going to speak on this. I'm curious to see. I think they were still on good terms. I think they were still on good terms. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm kind of in my zone right now. I love you all. Thank you guys for coming. Definitely hit the like button. Um, I think they were still on good terms, but it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder what she's thinking about right now, amongst other things. Because of course, I don't know if you guys know, but to give you a backstory on Nikki Gilbert's situation, she said P Valley was stolen from her play and from a script and her actual play that she did. And it was actually on like BET, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. Her soul cabaret play had like Faith Evans at one point, Fantasia, and she said it was stolen. And she actually has like clip by clip of the scenes and how they were stolen from what she had as far as her play is concerned. She took them to court. She took Stars, she took Lionsgate, she took them to court. And she even got up to the point of like the 3-panel judges. They kept denying her, kept denying her. And even with the 3-panel judge, they still denied her. And she's absolutely devastated. And now she's trying to go to the Supreme Court. But you guys understand that stuff costs money. It costs a lot of money. And I feel like that's the whole game of it. They take your stuff and they hope that you don't have the means or the money to fight it. Okay. And then even if you do have the means or the money to fight it, they will keep making you go to court after court after court. All of that stuff costs money. So by the time you were at the end, you're broke. I think that's the game of it all. But you know what I mean? Nikki and Angie fighting the same fight. One's fighting it as far as Lionsgate Stars is concerned. The other one's fighting it as far as Universal Music. But again, big corporations and black women, creative black women fighting for their just due of what they rightfully have created. And from my understanding, Angie has had her stuff sampled with Bruno Mars. I think Bruno Mars allegedly sampled some of her work. Dr. Dre sampled some of her work, if I'm not mistaken. Huge names in the industry. Those samples alone probably would have made her a multimillionaire. A multimillionaire. What show was she on? Are you talking about R&B Divas, Veronica? R&B Divas. It was a show. I forgot which. I want to say it was BET or TV One. One of those channels. It was called R&B Divas. But interesting enough, Nikki Gilbert from the group Brownstones created the show. In one season, Angie Stone was actually on that season with Kiki Wyatt, Selena Johnson, amongst others. But yeah. But again, in my opinion, we are at this stage where these things should not happen. They're still happening because, unfortunately, even sometimes the legal people that are representing you sounds like they'll probably F you over so they can get a bigger bag behind the scenes. In my opinion, that's what it sounded like, because we've already talked about this before with people in the past who are fighting for their rights, even back in the 70s, like I told you guys with Eric Monty. if I'm not mistaken, if because I butcher names. Eric Monty, who allegedly created Good Times, What's Happening, amongst others. But of course, someone else got the credit for it. And he said that his own attorney screwed him over to pretty much side with the corporation and side with the other guy. These type of things happen. So we can't say, well, why didn't she get an attorney and all of that stuff? She may have had an attorney. But see, the problem is you really got to understand these contracts and these in this business really for yourself. Unfortunately, and not even depend sometimes on the legal representation you have. And if you do have the legal representation, you ask some questions. Don't just depend on these contracts and just say, okay, well, I have an attorney, they'll look over it. And if they say it's good, it's good. No, you got to read that damn contract for yourself and ask questions. And if people get annoyed with you asking questions, then you may need to get some more or different representation. So this type of stuff, it shouldn't be happening anymore, but it is. In my personal opinion, people in general, but again, because I am a Black woman and I'm a part of the Black community, we should definitely have certain attorneys that are strictly for us, certain managers that are strictly for us. We should have that type of alliance where when these type of things happen, the people who are wealthy with amongst this industry or other industries can actually put money towards these type of legal cases so people can get their money. We should do it that way. But again, you have a lot of people who don't give a damn. They pretend like they give a damn, but they really don't. It's really about their checks and their checks only. They're not going to do it. They're too afraid to do it sometimes too. Oh, but unless it happens to them, and then when it happens to them, they want everybody to rally behind them. This disturbs me, you guys. It really disturbs me. I am praying for this family. I am praying that Angie is not here, but that her kids are able to reap the benefits that she wasn't able to reap. And understand what I just said, to reap the benefits that she wasn't even able to enjoy. Angie wasn't even able to enjoy her own creativity, her own money like that. It seems to me that she's just been constantly working. She hasn't really been able to enjoy and sit back and enjoy. That is it's madness to me. It is madness that this woman left this earth, and I can't even imagine how much money she made. But the fact that she's saying that she could have retired 20 years ago, that sounds like a lot of money that she is gone, that she did not get. And it will be 10 times more devastating that now that she's gone, and then those kids can't even reap the benefits off of their mother's hard work. Like, that would be insane. I am hoping that there are people still within the industry or people who are willing to fight. This is a moment where a Cat Williams can hopefully come in and help in this situation, or some other people who are unapologetic about, be doing what's right. I'm hoping someone comes in and helps the situation, because I just have a gut feeling that she was also probably on the road to take care of the legal stuff that because she was about to go after Universal. I really think that she was trying to make sure she had the money and the means to do it. And the way she was going to do it was to actually continue to work and be on that road. But now without it, who's going to help? Because the damn sure ain't D'Angelo. I mean, has anybody even heard from him? Where has he been? You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's also bothers me because it's just it's another Black woman who probably struggled her whole entire life, did everything she could to take care of her kids, always just making it, always getting by, always doing what she had to do. I'm sure that she has certain heights in her career. Probably, of course, wish they could have been better heights in her career, especially money wise. But I just, I just feel like this is disturbing that this is still happening. We have had too many stories like this. We have had too many stories from Angie, Sam Cooke. We have had so many stories like this where it's just like these people left this earth and you're like, what the F happened? What the F happened to their money? What the F happened to their royalties, their rights? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And 9 weeks ago, she did a whole live about this. A whole live. And she got grandkids too. She was actually talking to one of her grandkids on that live. So again, like she said, she could have retired a long time ago and probably could have had money for her kids, money for her grandkids, her great grandkids. There should be no reason why a 63-year-old woman who's been in the business for 30 plus years should still be out on the road like that. Now, here's the thing. Some people are just on the road because they want to be. Like, I'm a firm believer that Janet at this point is just performing because that's what she just loves to do. And she does it for the fans. I would even say Mariah Carey is also doing that as well. She's just doing it for the fans. Again, we don't know their pockets, but my guess is they are doing it for that. Okay. But then there's some people where you're like, you can tell they're out here because they have no choice but to be. Like, in my opinion, Mary J is out there because she has no choice but to be. Baby, I don't know if y'all done seen some of them clips, but Mary looked tired as hell. Like, she like, I'm just going day by day, show by show, because I got to pay these bills. Yeah, right, exactly, B baby. And hey, you guys, I'm so sorry. Like I said, I'm in a zone. Yeah, Patty. Why is Patty LaBelle in her 70s, damn near probably 80s, and she's still working? You know what I mean? Like, still working. Exactly. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady. Yes. Yeah. But see, the problem is that again, the fact that some people can be successful and some people can't, it really makes you wonder why some are able to be successful and some are not. It really makes you wonder. But again, the problem is that I don't think Angie, she just wanted fairness. A lot of these artists just want fairness. Even Tiffany Red, I did a whole thing about her. I did a video on her. She's been talking about the shadiness of the industry and how they treat songwriters and how songwriters are disrespected. And now, I don't know if you guys heard, but Chloe Bailey and Beyonce's label, is it Parkwood Park something entertainment? There's a big lawsuit against them because they have been accused of stealing people's songs. And Tiffany Red is there to help with that. These people just want a fair shot. They just want a decent living to be able to make money off of their art, and they can't even get that. It's a greed situation. It really is. And like Tiffany Red one time said, like, these artists that we write for are us. They look like us. And so that to me puts more salt in the wound. I can promise you that Angie has probably had people who look like her that have been in her corner for these 30 plus years in her life where she was working in the industry, the 30 years plus she'd been in the industry, that looked like her, who was probably allegedly stealing from her. Like, real talk. And that to me is the biggest treason. Like, your own people stealing from you. Like, this is why you got to say all skin folks and kin folks. I agree with part of the Black community rallying together to help folks, fellow Black entertainers out there. They're in a situation like this, getting their masters in publishing back and such. Exactly. But I don't think they want to do it. Some don't do it out of fear. Some of them don't do it because they get their own bigger paycheck if others don't get their just due. Yeah. Some of them get a bigger paycheck when their own people get ripped off. Yeah, people don't want to talk about that. So this is why, to a certain extent, you have a lot of people who are very, very guarded and keep to themselves in these type of businesses. Hell, let's be clear. Even in our day-to-day careers, I'm sure you guys have jobs that you work on that you kind of isolate yourself. Friends, what? Like making friends at work? Like, no, because they're not your friends. They're your coworkers, and they're probably in competition with you. Like this world is shady as hell. There's no say like it's very hard to find community. Everybody's in competition with each other. Everybody's, you know what I'm saying, that nice nasty vibe. There's a lot of people who are like that now. And can you imagine when you already have that in your regular 9 to 5? Imagine an industry where you can make millions on top of millions of dollars, how cutthroat people can be. It happens, you know? I do, and they don't like it. What part they don't like, V baby? What you talk about? You talking about? Let me know what part you talk about when I said that. But yeah, you got people in your day-to-day job who are cutthroat like that. Even for like a promotion where you may get, I don't know, if you get paid hourly, maybe $5 more hourly. If you get paid salary, maybe you get 20,000 more in salary, and you would think like, damn, like, are you willing to just go like that dirty and grimy for an extra $5 an hour or extra 20,000? Yes. So can you imagine an extra 5 million, an extra 20 million? Yes. This is what you're gonna deal with. Oh, isolation. Yeah. If you isolate yourself, they don't like it. You kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't when you do that. But I don't blame people for doing that because it's a cold world out there. I'll never forget a few years ago when Chance the Rapper helped Anita Baker get her master's back, and she was so gracious. We need more of that from our community. We do. We do, Joseph. We do. And the ones, you know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. Chance the Rapper, I'm sure he's living nice. I am sure he's living nice, but he ain't making all the money that some of these others claim. But you don't hear about them helping doing that type of stuff. There's enough wealth in our Black community where, like, especially within the Black entertainment industry, where this stuff shouldn't be happening anymore. And if it does, there's enough resources to rally together to fix it. And this is why I say it pisses me off. I don't think the reality is the industries are going to be the industries. Their job is to make as much money as they possibly can. Their job is to make their money, not make your money. Okay? That's their job. So, but again, community is key. You see other communities doing just fine when they come together and they can create a strong unit, and financially they become even stronger because they're there to back each other up. Like, I just don't see that. It's not right that this woman is passing and this is what's happening. I wouldn't even be shocked because we have had celebrities out there. I wouldn't be shocked if they may not have enough for her funeral. Like, we've had those type of stories where they don't even have enough money for a funeral. But you've had Bruno Mars and Dr. Dre sample your stuff? That's problematic. That's a problem. No one with the type of career that Angie had. And again, I'm not saying she was a number one artist, but we not gonna also pretend that we didn't have number one artists out there who still were broke. TLC, TLC, if I'm not mistaken, is still one of the biggest selling female group. I want to say they're still the biggest selling female group of all time. And for a very long time, they struggled. Very long time. These stories, and a lot of people, in my opinion, they get sick and their health starts to decline because of the stress of the things they have to go through and the pain and, them fighting all the time. That type of stuff is a wear and tear on people's bodies. Remember, Irene Cara, before she passed, said that she was struggling to get her masters owed back to her. Mind you, she was the big artist of the 80s with massive hits. Exactly. For those who don't know who Irene Cara is, Irene Cara was in Sparkle, the original Sparkle. She was the young sister. She was, the youngest one. She was in Fame, the original Fame in 1980. She actually is the song Fame, the actual like big time recording soundtrack song Fame, that is sung by Irene. Also, What a Feeling, Flashdance. For those who don't remember this stuff, Joseph is only 22 years old. He got an old soul, but he knows this stuff. Flashdance, What a Feeling. Also Irene. She has several hits that are still going on still to this day. And she struggled. And she left this earth. I don't think she still had her masters, and I don't think she was still making the money that she should have made or still living comfortable. These are the type of things that I have an issue with. This is a problem. Irene definitely is still embedded in my, childhood. Like, I watched as a little girl Fame, the TV show, even though that was a remake, but everybody knows Irene from Fame and What a Feeling. She was huge. They said she was blackballed from the music industry. And why was she blackballed? Because see, the thing is, at this point, it seemed to me that asking questions about where your money is can get you blackballed. That's the insanity of it. See, a lot of times people think when you hear blackballed, oh, you must have really had to do something really effed up to be blackballed. Sometimes asking where your money is and asking about business can get you blackballed, because it's like, oh, how dare you ask? You know what I mean? Have some of her songs on my playlist. Yeah. But her two top songs were Fame and What a Feeling. See, and this is what I'm talking about. These type of things should not happen anymore. We should have had examples. And let's be clear, Irene came 20 years almost, 20 years easily, because Irene started in the mid 70s. I think Sparkles came out, I want to say in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. So like 20 years later, Angie came along. 20 years later, Angie came along, and she kind of has one of the same stories as Irene. It makes sense. It should not be this way. That's what she's fighting for. Hi, Catherine. That's the reason why R. Kelly's in jail. Oh, okay. Well, explain that to me, because the thing about R. Kelly, honey, is that we saw that tape. Unfortunately, a lot of people saw that tape, but you're saying that even with him being guilty of that, are you trying to say some people have gotten a pass by doing that, and R. Kelly did not get a pass because of him fighting for his royalties, maybe? Explain that to me. Because in that situation, we got a lot of people in a videotape out there about things that he did. But I'm willing to hear your take on what you think on that. But I will say this. Even with R. Kelly allegedly doing the things that he did, we do know that apparently he was illiterate, allegedly. Definitely did not have enough education. We also know that he had a lot of massive hits. And it makes you wonder, with the contracts he signed, if he did not have the education and he was just trying to make music, how much of that money he actually did collect and how much of it went to other people. Yes, TLC was and still is one of the biggest selling groups of all time, yet they didn't see any real dough until the third album, back when No Scrubs was a huge hit. Exactly. Mind you, every album that they had before that. Their first album, the album with Crazy Sexy Cool, all of those albums were huge successful albums. And yeah, a lot of times the only way that they were making really money was possibly on the road. But back then, that's when the music industry was really, really good. Where if you had points, good points off of those albums and you were selling millions, you definitely could have made a lot of money back then. Another one that's off the top of my head is the DeBarge family. Now we know, of course, substances and SA and so many other things from their childhood definitely caused a lot of devastation to them, but we not gonna pretend like they didn't produce and write their own songs. I Like It, All This Love, Love Me in a Special Way, Who's Holding Donna Now. I think all of those songs were written by them. Switch, Bobby DeBarge, a lot of those songs written by them. I don't think they got their masters. And them songs still to this day are classics. Millions of dollars being made. Millions. We hear these stories all the time. All the time. And I don't care if someone has a substance problem, what's theirs is theirs. What's theirs is theirs. You have plenty of other artists who aren't Black who got substance issues, but they still got their royalties and they still got their masters. Forever My Lady for Jodeci. Forever My Lady, I think, was written by Al B. Sure, wasn't it? I think it was written by Al B. Sure. Unsung and Even Behind the Music had artists that told how those contracts was bogus and how they got steamrolled. It's really sad. Yeah. Remember when Lisa broke down the math, get ready to do your math? Yeah. Yep. And she said, and that's exactly how we became bankrupt. Yep. I remember the Behind the Music. They need to bring that back. They do. They really do. That was an excellent show. Excellent show. Now, there were definitely people who did do it right, but we need more of those who are willing to show people how they did it right. Like, for example, remember the group The Boys? Dial My Heart? I know, well, for those who are around my age or like Joseph, who's an old soul, The Boys, Dial My Heart, You Got Me Going Crazy, Happy. They definitely were like a hit boys group back in the late 80s, early 90s. They are an example of doing it right. They had a father in their life who really knew the business, really was able to pretty much make sure that even when they decided to kind of leave the industry on an early note, still to this day, they got their money. And then they took their money and invested it the right way. And some of them is chilling up in Africa in a whole new life. And some of them are here, but you don't hear about them having to work a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Because they were able to do it right. So I just wish that the ones who were able to master and do it right really start teaching the other people and really helping them if they do get railroaded, how they can kind of help them so that it won't happen again or it doesn't happen at all. Yes, his royalties. Remember, he didn't understand the contract, so that's the reason why. Actually, was the real reason because they owed him so much money. So I think it was a setup. You know what? Look, that could be a very valid point. I still think the man mentally was sick because we do know that he did mess with young girls. We saw the video, but I can see your point on your saying that because it's not like the first time we've heard these type of stories of sick people messing with young people. And for whatever reason, I guess some people have gotten away with it and some don't. So I can understand your point. And in that, I do. I'm a firm believer where I feel like all people who do bad should be exposed, no matter what color, gender, whatever the case may be. But I think I have heard something like that where people were saying that, they owed him a lot of money and he started asking questions about it or whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden this happened. It's possible. It's possible. You know what I mean? It's possible. So yeah, I did too, especially all those genres. TLC said that their Crazy Sexy Cool album alone went diamond and made LaFace 75 million for a company, but at the end only got exactly. Exactly. Like you have people out here who work a 9 to 5 job and get paid more than 50K a year. And you literally are in a business where there's millions of dollars on the line. And you're on tour and you mean to tell me you only getting 50K? And I'm sure that's the reason why a lot of people stayed on the road. They stayed on the road a lot of the times due to the fact that that was really how they could make their money. That's the only way they could make their money is that way. But it's unfortunate, but something needs to change. This is very disturbing to me. I don't like it. I'm already sad over the fact that we lost another legend. We've been losing people left and right, you guys. Left and right. I mean, it's just been so much devastation. Like sometimes I really just have to get away. I mean, we lost Roberta Flack a couple of days ago. Gene Hackman, we lost him, and that's definitely suspicious as all hell. We lost Irv Gotti, and I mean, we definitely have had our different opinions on Irv, but we can't deny the legacy that he brought to the table. But with Irv, they have definitely said it was his own eating habits and things like that that caused him to, for that to happen to him. Roberta Flack was 88. Okay. Gene Hackman was 95. Suspicious as all hell, but still a 95-year-old man. Angie, 63 years old. 63. Gone way too soon. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, they definitely need to expose all of them. I agree with that, but again, and that's why, I mean, look, that's why you have certain people. If you guys notice, there are certain people who say, well, why are they always only exposing, the black people? Why are they only exposing them? I think a little bit of everyone is being exposed at this point. Interesting enough, though, you guys, what's the guy's name? Not Jeff Epstein, but Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein, I know you guys are familiar with Candace Owens. I'm sure everybody knows who Candace Owens is at this point. Apparently, she is doing a segment, and I think if you guys want to talk about it, I think that would be pretty interesting to talk about. Candace Owens has been talking to Harvey Weinstein and let her tell it based off of her own investigation. She's claiming something is fishy about the Harvey Weinstein situation. So it's interesting because it does make people question, I guess, why do certain people get caught and certain people don't? I mean, it's quite interesting. But again, I'll say this, a lot of the people who have been getting caught up still got money in their pockets. Harvey Weinstein ain't broke. You know what I'm saying? He's not broke at all. I don't even think Diddy is broke. I don't think Diddy was ever a billionaire, if you ask me, in my personal opinion, but I don't think he's broke. You know what I mean? My issue in this situation is that Angie Stone left this world not getting what was owed to her. That's my issue. That is my issue. And all she wanted was just a fair shot and just wanted to share her artistry to the world. That's all she really wanted. She wasn't trying to take over. She just wanted a fair shot. And I think that should be for everybody. Everybody should get a fair shot. Everybody should be able to share their talents with the world and be able to make money off of it and create generational wealth and be able to share it with their loved ones. But I will say when it comes to the Black community, it's very hard for whatever reason to obtain our generational wealth. It almost seems like it's virtually impossible. Only certain people can get it and the rest cannot. And to me, that's an example of Angie Stone's situation. Why did she have to go through this? Why did she even have to get to the point where she had to sue? I'm sure even if they didn't give her all of what she was owed, but just even 75% of it, she probably wouldn't even made a fuss. Now, granted, I feel like she's owed everything that she was owed, but even if they would have just given her decency, like, we're gonna give you enough to where you can live great and have the best of the best to be able to take care of your kids and really be able to pass something on. May not be everything you're owed, but enough to make you super comfortable. She probably wouldn't even be saying anything at this point. So that should just show you how the struggle was really real for her, and she couldn't understand why with everything she was creating. Right. They are the ones with the best music and get it so hard in the industry. Right. And not just the best music. And not just the best music, I would say the original music. Angie writes her own stuff. I don't think she had co-writers, and even if she did, she definitely gave them their just due. She was a musician, if I'm not mistaken, too. She produced stuff. So these are people who can really create their own from beginning to end. And those are the people you screw over. Meanwhile, certain people who don't write, but they take writing credits. You know what I'm saying? They don't produce, but they take producing credits. It's almost coming off as if you're willing to steal and destroy, you make it. And other people don't. But this has to end. It really has to end. We have to get to the point where, and maybe with everything that's going on in this world right now, that's God's plan. I think we're getting to a point now in this world that if we don't band together, we're all going to perish to a certain extent. What I mean by that is not just like be unalive. What I mean is how we're all going to be in the struggle if we don't get it together. Some are still doing better than others. Certain, they're still a middle class. I don't know how much a middle class is still going to be left. But if we don't get it together, we're all going to be bad in some kind of way, shape, or form. So maybe all of this is going on is that regardless, we have to band together. We have to work together. We have to. Maybe this is what the lesson is right now, because it's a lot. It's a lot going on. I know y'all feel it because I damn sure feel it. It's a lot going on right now. Every time I turn around, every time I blink my eyes, something is popping up. And I was not expecting this today. I truly was about to go on about my day, and I was going to do a later review on one of the shows. But after this happened, I said, you know what? Like, man, this is just, it's too much. It's too much, but it really disturbed me that she literally left here and did not reap the benefits of everything. That really bothers me. You really should not leave this world without showing how all of your hard work paid off. That's a problem for me. But I just wanted to talk, y'all. I'm sure I talked y'all heads off like I normally do, but I felt like I needed to share that. Um Rest in peace, rest in paradise, Angie Stone. I'm definitely, based on that Instagram live, she knew God, she knew him, you know what I mean? So, I'm truly hoping, her soul is at peace. She is, resting easy, saying she is in God's arms right now. She definitely, it felt like she really knew she was God's child. And she did talk about how you really know who your friends are when you're going through something and when you're really in the struggle. She said, you really know who your friends are. I think we can all relate to that. She definitely lived a very hard life. She definitely has some ups, but she has some peaks, she has some valleys, but she did go through a lot. It just, I'm bothered by the fact that this woman seems like she struggled her whole life, whether it was financially, whether it was to raise her kids, her health, and then for it to end like this, yeah, it bothers me. It does. So I'm hoping that she's at peace. I'm praying for her kids. I'm praying for her family. And I truly hope that they are able to fight for their mother and their mother gets their just due. I really, really hope that she gets her royalties and the money that's owed to her. And so her kids can really say, thank you, mom. Now, I'm sure they're saying that in general, of course, but thank you, mom, because all of your hard work, we are now reaping the benefits. She's not here to see it, but I am sure she would be so happy that her kids were able to get everything that was owed to her. The life of our beauty, yeah, beautiful she was. I loved Angie when she came on the scene. I said, wait a minute, she everything that's a negative when it comes to the industry, everything that's a negative in this world. She's black, she was fat, she had nappy hair, and she embraced all of it and was talented and didn't compromise herself. That is definitely queen status. You know what I mean? That's definitely queen status. Taylor Swift, one of the biggest pop stars in the world, had to record her first four albums in order to re-record her first four albums in order to regain her masters back because her old label sold them behind her back. She succeeded, but damn, yeah, she succeeded, and we not gonna pretend like she probably succeeded because of her complexion for protection and also her status in life. So I sung No More Rain every day at 11. It reminded me of my grandma. Yeah, she definitely, but God bless her soul. God bless her kids. But yeah, we have to do better. We have to do better. But for those who listen, I would definitely like to see what you guys have to say. Leave your comments below. And let's talk about this and what can we do to change this? And you know, I would say it doesn't have to take everybody. It doesn't have to take everybody because there's always going to be selfish people who are going to be me, fi, me. But I would just say even 20, 30% of people rallying behind each other to support each other could make a difference. It really could. So, with that being said, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles.